Let's talk about something we use every single second of every day, but probably don't think about enough: our Wi Fi. It's the invisible network that runs our entire lives. And we're going to ask a really important question today. Is your Wi Fi basically an open book for anyone to read? I mean, just take a second and look around you right now. Your phone, your laptop, your smart TV, heck, maybe even your coffee maker. They're all chattering away wirelessly, all the time. And that's not just convenience, right? That is a constant, nonstop river of your personal data. So you gotta wonder, who else is listening? So when we talk about wireless network security, what do we really mean? Honestly, just think of it like the digital deadbolts on your home's front door. It's all the tools and good habits we use to make absolutely sure that the only people on our Wi-Fi seeing our data are the people we've actually invited in. See, here's the thing. A wired connection, an Ethernet cable, that's all contained inside a physical wire. It's pretty straightforward. But Wi-Fi is totally different. It's literally broadcasting your data out into the air on radio waves. And those signals, they don't just magically stop at your walls. They spill out into the street, to your neighbors, and that openness is exactly what makes them vulnerable from the get-go. Okay, so that brings us to the threats themselves. If our data is just floating around out there, who's actually trying to grab it? Let's take a look at some of the common dangers that are lurking in those airwaves. We're going to break down a few of the biggest ones you should know about. And these really run the gamut, from someone just passively snooping on you to actively trying to trick you or even just shutting your whole network down. Let's start with the most basic one of all: eavesdropping. And yeah, it is just as simple and as creepy as it sounds. If your network isn't encrypted, meaning your data isn't scrambled up, somebody sitting in a car down the street with the right software could literally see the websites you're visiting and the stuff you're typing in. It's the digital version of a wiretap on a phone line. Now, this one is really sneaky. An attacker can set up a fake Wi-Fi network. We call it a rogue access point that looks totally legit, like free_cafe_Wi-Fi. So you connect, thinking you're about to get some free internet, but what you've actually done is connect directly to the attacker's laptop. And now they can see everything you're doing online. And this takes it to a whole other level. In what's called a man-in-the-middle attack, a criminal wedges themselves digitally between you and wherever you're trying to go online, say your bank's website. Now they can't just read your data, they can actually change it. They could redirect a payment you're making or grab your login details, and you would have no idea it even happened. Okay, I know that all sounds pretty terrifying, but here's the good news. For as long as these threats have been around, smart people have been building better and better defenses. So let's take a look at how our digital shields have evolved over time. You can really see this as a kind of security arms race. We started with something called WEP, which, turned out to be super easy to crack. WPA was a quick fix, but then we got WPA2, and that was the gold standard for over a decade. It uses this really powerful AES encryption to scramble data. But now we have WPA3, which raises the bar even higher to deal with today's threats. So what's the big deal with WPA3? Well, it's just built tougher. It's way better at protecting against what we call brute force attacks, where a hacker just tries thousands of passwords a second. And here's the killer feature. On public Wi-Fi, it gives you individualized encryption. That means even if a hacker is on the exact same coffee shop network as you, your traffic is scrambled separately. They can't snoop on you. It's a game changer. All right, so knowing about the shields is one thing, but actually using them is what counts. So this is probably the most important part of this whole explainer, the simple, real steps you can take, like right now, to lock down your own home network. Think of this as your must-do checklist. Number 1, a strong password. Long, complex, you know the drill. 2, log into your router settings and make sure you've picked the highest security setting it has. Hopefully that's WPA3. 3, change the default network name and, crucially, the admin password for the router itself. And 4, keep your router's software, its firmware, updated. That's how they patch security holes. And hey, if you want to go the extra mile, here are 2 more pro tips. You can disable WPS, which is a feature for easy connection that also happens to be a known weak spot. And you can use something called MAC filtering, which is basically creating a VIP guest list for your Wi-Fi, telling your router to only let your specific devices connect. So we've gone through the scary threats and the practical solutions, but let's just zoom out for a second and talk about the big picture. Why is doing all of this so incredibly important? It really all boils down to these three things. We call them the pillars of data security. Confidentiality, that's just keeping your stuff secret. Integrity, that's making sure nobody is messing with your data, changing things without you knowing. And availability, that's just making sure your network is actually there for you when you need it. Good Wi-Fi security protects all three. So we'll leave you with this one last thought. Every single moment you're online, your life, your data, it's traveling through the air. By taking just a few of these simple steps, you are the one who gets to decide who's allowed to listen. The power to turn that open book into a locked private journal, it's completely in your hands.